Here we are, standing at the bank of a mountain stream, where the steady flow of water finds its way back to the ocean. On days like these, I like to come to this mountain stream to unwind. With no agenda and no map, let's follow the stream and see where it takes us. Do you hear the light trickle of the stream? It flows with ease, winding and weaving through fallen branches and over smooth rocks. Before we follow its path, let's begin with a little wind down. This one is a breathing exercise. So first, get comfortable in your bed. Now, just bringing the attention to the breath. Just noticing where you feel it. In the nose, the throat, the chest, the diaphragm. Feel nice and relaxed. We're going to be taking a deep breath in for 4, holding it for 4, and then breathing out for 6. So are you ready? Let's begin. In for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4, 2, 3, 4. Now breathing out for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In for 4, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 4, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In for 4, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 4, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In for 4, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 4, 2, 3, 4. Out for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. Now returning the breath to normal. We stop for a while on a large granite-colored rock, sitting at first, then leaning back, letting your head be cradled by a small hollow, in which, judging by the watermark, rainwater pools before being baked off by the sun. The surface of the rock warms your skin, even through your t-shirt. You lie for a moment, taking in the heat, then apply some sunscreen, which makes your skin glisten. Your gaze grows distant, wanders upwards, comes to rest on the lonely hiking trail which cuts through some pine trees. Where does it lead, you wonder, that trail? Does it end up at the peak of the mountain? Would one really climb that bare rock face, leaning slightly sideways? Your thoughts are interrupted by a few hikers and their dog, making their way along the mountain trail. You admire them, making their slow ascent through the pines, but have no desire to be up there yourself. One of the hikers, catching sight of you, waves. "Hello," you say, waving back. Though of course they can't hear you. Were it a few weeks earlier, in summer, the water would have been warmer. But it's autumn now. Too late for swimming, you tell yourself. And anyway, you've not brought your swimsuit. But still, the water is inviting. Your body feels tempted. You feel a kind of thirst to be inside it. find yourself strangely envious of the little silverfish darting by. You take your shoes off and you dip a toe into the water. Then step in further till your ankles are submerged. There is a pleasant sense of contrast between your cool feet and your warm body. You fix your eyes on your feet, letting your eyes stare. There is something mesmerizing about the sight of water gliding over and around you. For a moment, you forget yourself. You wonder what it is about the water that your eye likes. The words which people usually use to appreciate water, how silky or velvety or sparkling it is, are part of the story, yes, but not the whole story. They do not account for the clarity of it, how it clears the head, focuses things, like putting on a pair of spectacles. You listen to the water moving itself from one rock pool into the next. The sound it makes as it lands is more like bubbling than splashing. But then the water isn't really falling. It's hardly tumbling even. There is something very measured about its progress. It seems to be rolling downhill, to be pouring itself from one rocky basin to the next. Is this even a waterfall? It seems too gentle for that name. Waterfalls are more dramatic, more chaotic than this little stream. You like waterfalls? Who doesn't? How spectacular they are, with their big sprays and rugged cliffs, their roar, their plunging and cascading, the way they crash with such force when they land that rainbows appear in the mist they release. No, you think. This little stream is quieter than a waterfall, more human, easier on the ear. I'm not sure what this is exactly, but it's not a waterfall, that's for sure. A row of rocks create a set of stepping stones leading over the stream. The water picks up pace here, creating a mist which gives the scene a dreamy quality, a slightly unreal feeling, as in a watercolor painting. Smiling inwardly, you leave the bank and step onto the first stone. Your body, uncertain at first, gains confidence, and soon you've found your center of gravity. You cross onto the next stone, which is larger than the first. Being careful not to slip, you lift your arms slightly away from your hips to keep you stable, feeling an almost childlike pride in how quickly your body has weighed up its limbs and remembering how to distribute its weight. You've forgotten this. The simple pleasure of balancing. It's like stepping back in time. You can almost see yourself, your child self that is, playing this game, hopping from one stone to the next, thinking of nothing but where to put your feet next. You peel off the main path, taking a smaller path. It's hardly a path, really. Just a trail trampled flat by other walkers who, like you, perhaps had veered off, looking for somewhere cooler to escape the sun. You rest for a while on a fallen tree trunk, wrapped around with vines. The air is pleasantly damp. The branches close in overhead. The sound of the stream is fainter here, but has not disappeared completely. After pausing for a minute or two, you continue through the trees. The path dips, and you follow it to the bottom of the ravine, where, in the earth's cleft, you find a tiny tributary of the stream, a seam of water, no wider than a finger. The slim blue vein reflecting the sky can't have been here long. It has not yet become murky. It just lies there, totally still, as if having escaped temporarily the general flow of the stream, as if having snuck off for an afternoon nap. An insect floats on its surface, waiting for the water level to rise, for some storm or high tide to push the water along again. A piece of paper has been dropped on the path ahead of you. You pick it up and cannot help but turn it over to see what it is. Someone has dropped their shopping list, it seems. Garlic, onion, red pepper. You wonder what they were planning to cook. But the rest of the ingredients have been smudged, lost in a swirl of ink. The thought of food makes you hungry. The baguette you bought this morning is still warm when you take it out of your backpack. Sitting down on a fallen tree trunk to eat, a rabbit has dug its home beneath the upturned base of the tree, so that the tree's roots, dangling over the entrance to the hole, form a neat brown curtain. You have no to-do list today. You have nowhere to be, nothing to do, no plan. Several clumps of bell-shaped purple flowers sprout beside the tree. If you were an artist, you think, you'd paint them. But instead, you just look. The path tilts gently downhill. You step over a tree root, which has risen above ground. Shadows of the trees crisscross the path in front of you, already dotted with fallen red leaves. Like the path, the stream meanders gradually downwards. If the slope had been steeper, the water would have been more vigorous, would have rushed with more urgency, more force. But the incline is so gentle that the water seems to be going for a stroll, not falling so much as carefully lowering itself, all in its own time, down the terrace of shallow pools formed by the rocks. You notice how the stream changes color as it moves, how the clear water spilling over the rocks darkens as it gathers in the natural rocky basins, becoming a rich brown, similar to beer. You enjoy these subtle shifts in color and the shifts in speed. How the stream seems to hesitate a moment in the little pools, as if to gather itself together before continuing towards the sea. You crouch down on the bank of a rock pool and stare down. Is there something shimmering in the water? You narrow your eyes, trying to determine the source of the light. But it's hard to see clearly, because a breeze has arrived, making the surface tremble. So you reach in, as if to discover with your fingers the source of this mysterious glint, hoping to find, who knows, some glittering mineral deposit on the rocks, perhaps, or a silvery green moss. But the water is deeper here than you'd expected. Your hat slips over your eyes. Sitting up, you push it back over your hair. Your hand leaves its wet imprint on your forehead. Looking back, the water is still. Now you can make out the hundreds of tiny fish darting between the rocks. Little slashes of silver, moving so fast that the water itself seems to shine. You follow the sloping path, itself following the water. A combination of the bright autumn sun and the sounds of the water spilling from one rock pool to another gives you a sense of ease which you've not experienced with other bodies of water. You have not felt this way at a swimming pool, for instance, or at the sea. There is something compelling about this stream. It catches you in its current, its way of going with the flow. You're thinking differently from before. And the further you walk, the more absorbed you become in its watery thought process. It's not that the water drowns out your thoughts. No, not at all. It's just that they seem to get somehow swept along in its rhythm. The phrase, stream of consciousness, comes to mind. Because that's the sense you have of your mind as a kind of riverbed, along which a meandering series of feelings and impressions, some mundane and others quite profound, pass without needing to be considered too much.